Hello, everybody. Welcome to Big in the USA, where we just goof off, talk about real things in life. Please leave any comments below and just have a good time if you happen to catch us. I know I only have like 25 followers, but maybe we can change that. There's still hope. What do you know? So, I am Sassy Biggons, and this is
Ralph Muggenthaler.
Ralph. You gotta say that 10 times fast. Okay, today's subject is general employment. Normally, I drive for Lyft, and I am pretending that I can find a new job and that my resume has been put through a cheese grater, and then all the fun things that come along with that. And you've had how many different types of jobs, Ralph?
Mm,
You've cooked, you've
I
driven
would,
truck, you're now doing medical billing.
and I also moonlight as a webmaster for a few nonprofit organizations.
So you get round, as they say.
Yeah, I'm not good at any of them, but I do them all. Me.
I would just be happy to find that. Sent a lady a resume today, and I still haven't heard back from her. She said she'd called to set up an interview, and I still don't have that interview. But they said it was a
Mm,
nice little admin job for a college student who needs nights off. And I'm like, I'm not a college student, but I don't care. I like nights off.
right. I think I'd lie and be like, "Yeah, I am in school. It's tough out here." It's sad, but you got to check all those boxes. Like, yeah, I got an uncle who's black and gay and trans and drinks. I don't know. Need all the crayons in the box. Are you locked up? If we're playing
There we
Quiet
go.
Mouse, Still Mouse. Oh, thank God. I was like, man, I lost Quiet Mouse, Still Mouse. You whooped me. It happens.
But yeah, just Bill thought that I was kidding about how hard it is for like a regular person with just a basic degree to get a job. And like, I already found one fake company this week that probably sold like my phone number and address to some bot. So I'm gonna start getting weird emails for all these
Mm,
things.
yeah.
Like, they're still sending me a check to make an office in my home that includes wood.
Okay.
They never said what kind of wood. They never said a shape of wood. They didn't even say a wood chair, just wood. What am I,
Interesting.
freaking beaver?
I guess maybe. What type of
I
job is
mean,
that for?
this wouldn't be the first check that if one does arrive, I had to turn over to the cops as soon as it got here.
Oh,
Room out in my house. Someone from far away sent me a fake check and then they misspelled Chase Bank, Manhattan.
oh, good lord. I have not had that
What a
type
way
of
to give
misfortune.
yourself away.
Hmm.
Say what?
I have not experienced that avenue of misfortune yet on my job searches.
It must be a dude thing. It must be.
Well,
I
that
don't
or
know if they
maybe
think
you're
they can
just more
screw
aggressive.
around.
Like you're looking harder than I am. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly like what you're trying to get into, or if you're just you don't care. You're just swinging
Any
low.
office job that lets me sit in a chair and do work.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hmm.
And no, I'm not bilingual. That lowers my stock value.
Ah,
It's
lo
like, sorry, I
siento.
was born in America.
See.
I think it's one of the other reasons I went into comedy, other than or when did the open mic nights and stuff, is that it does improve my public speaking. Based on my
Oh,
customers, I know I'm a little bit funny. It does create more of a sense of confidence that I already knew was there. But at the same time, who knows? Comedy could be a job because everything else
yeah,
sucks,
pretty sweet
fails,
one.
and I mean, allegedly I'm funny, so who knows? I mean, get the story going hard enough, and yeah, you just add a few sounds, few bells and whistles with a woo, And there you go.
Occasional rim shot.
Say what?
An occasional rim shot. That's the
Yeah,
drum sound, you know. You know. Yeah.
exactly.
I admire
You
you
know,
for getting up on stage and doing it, man. I've never done that willingly. Um, I don't know. I want to try it though.
well, because I got a lot of confidence telling the same stories over and over and over and over again to my customers in the back seat. That was an audience of one at a time.
Mm, yeah.
And when I was waitressing, there was couples that would come in and say they only came to the store or the restaurant because I was there.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool.
why don't you tell my bosses that?
Right. Yeah. That's
I
awesome.
still think I'm a worthless piece of flesh.
Yeah. Servers
No,
get a bum rap.
seriously. Or one of my favorite things I had to explain to my husband that I was not kidding about. I'm pretty sure I haven't gotten jobs, as I like to say, it's because of my face.
Hmm.
Basically, I'm not good looking enough to have a job at a crappy place.
You're hard on yourself.
No, no, no. I went to one interview, and the first thing that the guy said in this horrible, dingy little place was, "I'm sorry, we usually require headshots before we schedule interviews, and I just forgot to tell you."
That's fucked up. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I'm hoping whoever they did hire had
Golly.
good evidence to sue them into oblivion for sexual harassment.
For real. Wow. Yeah. That's a brazen, horrible thing to say.
So that's, I mean, they were, and it might have been from Craigslist because it might have been next to the "you can clean my house naked for free rent." Maybe one of those deals.
Where's that at? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was
Interesting.
Craigslist. But no, because I do find a lot of real people do use Craigslist mixed in with a lot of really, really horrible ones.
I would think now is the age of being able to find something remote. I mean, I don't. I literally don't
I
know.
know the last two I applied to were fake, and one of them, they said they were making a new location in Dallas, so I called the home parent company in Houston. They had no clue what I was talking about. There was no future Dallas location, so someone stole their identity to mine personal data or personal information.
Oh,
So
that's
if I
funny.
want to be like an undercover reporter at this point for fake things in the job market, I feel overqualified.
Wow. Yeah, that's terrible. I have had a Cinderella story since like going to school and graduating last year. I applied to one place. They hired me. Like I don't know. I couldn't be more fortunate. I don't know what made them give me a chance either because I'm like the youngest tenured person on my team. There's a woman on my team that's been doing this for 42 years. And I'm
She
thinking,
must like
golly,
it.
42 years ago I was 4 years old. I wasn't doing a whole lot, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure my dad wanted me to have a job, but I didn't. I didn't work.
Are you kidding me? At our house, you work as soon as you're able to stack firewood, one
Yeah,
piece at a time. Oh yeah, mom, you sweep floors, wash windows, put away silverware, wash dishes, vacuum. If you can hold a vacuum, you can work.
yeah.
You can't speak yet, but if you can vacuum, yeah, that's how mom's attitude was. I mean, she wasn't always such a hard ass, but at the same time, I hope some of those pictures were more like as jokes. Like, see, she's working already, vacuuming. Was it a joke? I'll never know.
Mm. Yeah, you had that farm life. My mom grew up on a farm, but my dad was a city boy, so my mom was way tougher than my dad.
It's like my parents still have weird aspirations. Like, yeah, they aimed more for prepperism, but it's like growing up being Amish hippies. All the hardness of the Amish and all the organicness of being hippie because we were still allowed to have buttons on our clothes. The Amish use safety pins because they think that buttons will create too much vanity.
Can I'm not wearing any buttons right now.
Neither am I.
Yeah, see. They got to me.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, I hope you can. I hope you can find something, real.
Yeah, because I just can't do those hard, like, I still say that the farm life prematurely aged me, and then I have done all those factory jobs that are all 3 months long. You work 6 days a week, you get at least $15 an hour, but when it's gone, it's gone. And it just puts your resume through a cheese grater. And ever since when I worked for, it was technically through Cornerstone, but the Dickey shipping department had so little work, and I found the girl I was subbing for. I found her resume like in a bottom drawer because I got so bored. I started cleaning just everything and organizing. And then when the ancient shipping department, which was the worst clicky click I've ever seen in my life, found out that I found her resume that something wasn't quite on the up and up. I mean, I wasn't going to tell anybody. I just said, "Here, I found this and whatever." And next thing you know, they go and lie to Cornerstone Staffing, which is one of the biggest temp agencies in the DFW area. All of a sudden, I can't work for Cornerstone anymore
Wow.
because of how they lied. So
Wow.
I'm short, fat, ugly, and they lie about me.
You're busy.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, self employment looks like. I mean, I know there's a lot of hard things that come with self employment, but the lack of headache from bullshit like that is amazing.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but the best times of my life, like financially and employment wise, were when I worked for myself.
Other people always screwing you over. Like, I have a God, you're not it. Thank you very much.
But you're gonna keep trying.
I have to. The car's getting too old. It's okay, either because I've been looking at the math. I can either go to school online through this Dallas Academy thing that I found to get my RHIT, which was half the cost of DeVry, and they're not even full semesters. Like, I'm used to taking 5, 6 classes as a full timer. This is like part-time basis type stuff.
Hmm.
And it's only 3 semesters. Last one's only 2 classes.
Awesome.
And the payment for that will be cheaper than buying a new car and driving.
I gotcha. Yeah. Is there any state programs that'll help you tuition wise
No,
or
because I
anything?
already have a degree, that I only have to have loans
Uh,
because I'm not a
okay.
first timer.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I was real lucky. State of Tennessee, like even though I was doing fine financially, I told them, I said, man, there's no way I qualified. They said it's not income based. They paid most of my tuition the whole time I was in school. But like you said, I
Yeah.
didn't have a degree previously, so
Yeah, I just got a basic business admin degree, and mostly I got that because I couldn't wait to get out of college just because I thought it was so useless at that point, and I was just fried mentally. I was taking care of the farm, went straight into full-time college. I was working my job almost full-time at the food store and still making sure my youngest sister grew up potty trained and knowing how to read.
dang.
I was fried. I was only getting 4 hours of sleep at night. My acid reflux was burning everything in sight. I was living on because of my acid reflux, I only got the 4 to 5 hours of sleep, ever. I
Wow.
wasn't eating all the time because my mom was also mentally at the time. I mean, she's okay now, but some days I was allowed to eat and some days I wasn't. A pint of Ben& and
Wow.
Jerry's fixed my feet because I do a 15-hour day sometimes. I'd come home unable to walk from standing on cement floors
Hmm.
because for 2 years I didn't have very good tires on my car, and I was going to a no, it's state school that was 45 minutes away from like mountains and hills and snow and everything in New Hampshire. The worst weather you could ever dream of. And for 2 years, I had, let's see, the first year I had 8 spin outs, like full 360s in a car. The second year, I only had 6 spin outs. And the third year, I got snow tires from Finland. That's how long it took me to save up the 800 something dollars to buy these things.
Golly.
I had no spin outs the third year, and they can kiss my ass about my driving.
You didn't go to Southern New Hampshire University?
I got accepted there, but I had to stay home and raise my youngest sister because my mother was crazy.
I tried going to school out of high school. It did not go well at all.
I went because my dad was paying for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone because the greatest thing that could have happened to me was I got a job in manufacturing, more physical labor, really hot mold presses. I had lines all up and down my arms from where I burned myself making car parts for Freudenberg. But
Oh,
because
wow.
it was on a schedule and a set system, all of a sudden, because I moved out, lived by myself, I was extremely reclusive. Like, didn't talk to my neighbors, nothing. I was getting like 10 to 12 hours of sleep every single night for the first 6 months, just recuperating from my previous life.
Right.
So when I say I'm too old for certain jobs, I'm seriously too old at this point. Like, was it? We got married in 2015. In the spring of 2016, I picked up something that was too heavy and too tall for me because I was showing off for myself. No, I thought, like, I'm still young. I still got this. I put a pinch in my back that lasted 5 years and five chiropractors later before it
Wow.
got fixed. And I
Hmm.
still have back problems. But right now, the only way I can fix those is just rebuilding the muscle because basically I didn't use them for 5 years.
Dang.
Yeah, and fixing other stuff. So, no offense, even though I have a degree that says I should have a sit down office job, I really do need a freaking sit down office job, people.
Do you
So,
know
it's not
anybody that has a job that you'd want? You know what I mean? Do you know anybody that works at a
comedians or
certain
sit down
level?
office job. Okay.
Huh?
It's either comedian or sit down office job, or even heck, just
Yeah.
a writer of some
Well,
kind.
all I was kind of getting into is like, it's really not even what you have or your qualifications more. A lot of it is who you know. That Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation.
Or as they
Just
say in
transfer
New
that to
Hampshire, it's not who you know, it's who you blow.
oh my. Well, that's a little bit more
Well, it's a
rough
very
around
strong
the
state
edges,
blow.
but I mean, yeah,
Well,
it
like New
translates.
Hampshire, I know two girls who are literally going to inherit their mother's jobs.
That sounds like a terrible inheritance.
That's what they got.
Yeah.
Like my dad, that man couldn't teach his own children, even if his life depended on it. So it's like none of us became mechanical engineers. None of us can carry anything on. His whole goal for us was to get married and have grandkids. It's like, but you kind of worked us to death. We really don't want that much work ever again. Like my sisters are the best at finding babysitters for their kids so they can have like real lives. And one of them only has one, the other one only has two, another one was only planning on having one. That's it.
Hmm.
They really don't want that kill yourself lifestyle with family.
I don't
I mean,
blame
I'm
them.
not having kids at all, so
I don't
it's fine.
claim any. I don't think I have any.
I love it when guys say that. I don't think so. Well,
I
I know
don't. I
Bill
don't
does.
think so.
I
Yeah.
know Bill
My
doesn't.
my sister has three, and so I'm good on that front. My wife's brother has four, so like we're busy being aunts and uncles. We don't have time, and we got all these mini horses running around, and I don't know. It would get in our way. It would slow us down. It would interrupt our nap time.
Yeah.
We
Uh,
don't take kindly to people interrupting our nap time.
that's what stress does to you. It makes you tired. And if it wasn't for the fact, like, there was a time when I was still in manufacturing and I slept accidentally for like 15 hours, unless it was 16. The boss believed me that I literally went to bed at my normal time and then overslept by 3 hours because I walked in. I still had the drool coming out of my mouth. 'Cause I
Well,
stopped, dropped, and ran to work.
right.
and he knows I was never ever late. It's like I was asleep, I promise. And that's why you should never ever ever mix overtime with first and third shift if you're already scheduled for second.
Mm, for real.
Like I said, I'm not allowed to have my work ethic get in the way of my health anymore. And office jobs never ever do that. Or were they
Hmm.
9 to 5 if best? The only shift I refuse
Yeah.
to take is third shift because I've tried third shift and after 3 weeks I turn into a basket case. I like owning my own mind. I like having what they call was it rubber band sharpness with how fast you can think. I like being able to do that. I don't like having muddledness up in here. I don't like the cobwebs and cotton balls getting in the way of my thought process. Or the other idea would be just start a podcast, have everybody join it, and make T-shirts, sell T-shirts.
Not a terrible idea. I think if I wore a Big in the USA T-shirt, though, people would just look at me and be like, "Yeah,
Well, that's why I
yeah,
picked
you
it.
are."
I mean, I took the name that I knew would look good on a T-shirt, and that I could just like cover it across all social media platforms. No one had taken it yet
Hmm.
at all. I'm like, sweet, because everything in America seems to have the word "big" associated with it.
We did a good job on the logos. I don't know. Like you
This
have all
one,
these
either
great ones.
Bill made it or he had a friend make that one. That's the
No,
newest
yeah, it's
reiteration.
pretty. Yeah, it looks
Um,
good.
I'm still waiting for us to get a really good graphic artist to where I want the T-shirt to be of like a set of boobs, and then have like some. You know how they have like the ghetto necklaces has the girl's name, but have it be big in the USA, like in fake diamonds on like a pendant
Yeah,
hanging down across the boobs.
that would be interesting.
Because I always say you can have your choice. It's either named after my ass or my boobs. You have your choice. Other than I live in Texas, which is one of the biggest states.
Some people even incorrectly assume it's the biggest one.
I thought
I,
Alaska
I
was the
watch
biggest
I
one.
watch a lot of those videos. Oh, it is. It most definitely is. But a lot of people answer Texas when they're asked that question. I watch those reels all the time, those shorts or whatever, where the
My
people
favorite one is
simple trivia questions.
I like when they have like the dumb people answer questions. There's just so many of them, and there's something like how many continents are there, and they don't know anything, or
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Like this dude the other day said, "Where's the Queen of England from originally?"
I think I
And she
saw
was
that
like,
one. Yeah,
"Yeah, yeah." She was like, "I have no idea." I was like, "Dude, he told you."
yeah, England,
Yeah.
Great Britain.
Or like how many stars are on the flag? I don't know. That's a no brainer for me, but I guess it's a big deal for kids to try to remember that stuff these days. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think they're ever taught in the first place, to be honest. They don't use
Scary.
logic, and whenever they get asked questions, they're taught to like go blank, like actually have a blank mind, not the other kind of go blank.
It's interesting. I mean, it's one of those things. Like I often just sit around and wonder where is like where's society headed, and will it crash within my lifetime or not? Like, will I have to witness this, or can I somehow get off this rock before it all goes to hell?
Yeah, my parents, they're of the belief that they want to be part of the not the ascension, but what is it when everyone gets beamed up cuz God
Oh, the
takes
rapture.
yeah, they want to be part of the rapture
Oh, nice. Okay. Hmm.
cuz their dad's almost convinced even from when I was like a young kid, he would have these conversations with us about how you must prepare for the end.
Hmm.
Not everyone had that intense of a childhood.
No, mine wasn't that intense. My
Like,
parents
Bill
did a
always
pretty
says
good
that we
job.
need to move. I'm like, better have 5 acres and a water source. I'm that person. I'm like, not because I'm that brainwashed, but at the same time, it's like, there is a purpose to knowing that you need a fresh water source and
Yeah,
land. Because if you don't have the water source with the land, basically you're sitting duck for whoever wants to take over your life and your land
true.
and your property and whatever you can grow.
Yeah, I've been wanting to put a hand pump on our well just in the off chance that power was out for a significant amount of time, we'd still be able to get water.
And it still pisses me off a little bit that my parents' house, like, their house is at the top of the 75-foot cliff, but
Oh,
there's
that's
water
cool.
at the bottom.
Well, that'll work.
And the erosion is washing out full grown trees. So even if you did put some type of pulley system out there,
It's not gonna last, huh?
well, if you think about it, when the land juts out like this, but then it's like carved out underneath it,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that kind of the biggest trees are being washed away slowly.
Wow.
Yeah, the only nice thing that my father did say happy birthday to me on my birthday, but then the nicest thing he said to me, according to him, was, "You're really good at butchering chickens."
That's an admirable trait. As someone that loves chicken, I should have looked for that in a companion.
It's like of all things he had to think of. I mean, originally I was conned into doing it. I was told it was a homeschool project.
Can you imagine seeing that on like a Plenty of Fish profile? Love long
I
walks,
considered
throwing
putting it
shade,
on there at one point
bringing
if it
chicken snacks.
no, like I remember a million years ago when I did have a Plenty of Fish profile. Literally at the top of it was like asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I'm not going to sleep with you. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Yes, I really mean it. Asterisk,
Hmm,
asterisk, asterisk. No pervs, no this, no that. Blah 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 blah. And then I
that's
just
probably all you got.
ripped the human race and the men's race just to shreds, and mysteriously didn't scare off one person.
I imagine they were like, "Oh, she's good to go."
Or even like with Bill's profile, whatever. I like the part where I got to the almost end where it said, "Just fucking let me pay for dinner, damn it."
Wow.
It's like, oh, I understand the sentiment
Hmm.
because of all the feminists out there. Like, I'm a woman, hear me roar. It's like, yeah, but you stopped being female 20 minutes ago, so
Yeah, it's a weird thing that happened to the feminists. Like I remember being, a preteen or teenager and seeing that movement and thinking, wow, yeah, that's crazy. Like I used to have to like I don't know. That was another thing I would just sit around and think about. Like I couldn't imagine women not being equal or superior in society. Like I had a hard time believing that that was possible. But nowadays, man, they don't even like they have abandoned everything. It seems like the best woman on the planet is a man, and I think that is insane.
well, that's based on media. That's not based on That's not based on a poll if you took one.
Probably not, but I mean, it's one of those things. Like it's an eventuality. Like you will be blacklisted if you talk about it. In a loud enough circle. You have to conform.
I did hear the other day there is a group of traditional white dudes from Hollywood who basically, if you can't tan, you can't get a job that you've had for years and years and have like they've written whole series. They've had success. People like what they do. So now all of a sudden, because they're a wrong color, they can't be employed.
Interesting.
Just trying to go more indie film with what they're doing because that's the way they can keep making stuff and maybe get paid for it. And
Wow.
there is what they call a parallel economy being made because of it. I mean,
Hmm.
for years I've always known to where it's more recently, like if you're not from the ghetto, I can't get a job in certain, like for the state. It won't happen. I know it won't happen. I saw what everyone else was when I took the test, and I passed the test.
Hmm. How we doing?
Yeah, or the other version in New Hampshire, because New Hampshire doesn't have anybody of color. Like I always say the same joke. New Hampshire's so white that I'm not talking about the snow or the meth.
Right.
And there's nobody up there of color. If you can tan, you're culturally diverse.
Yeah, I guess I never saw anybody of
No,
color up.
the only time they show up is during school times because
Well,
they pay off some of the kids to play basketball with scholarships. That's how they get color up there, not just in the fall with
yeah.
the leaves.
That's how Nebraska was for the longest time too, though. I mean, where my hometown was pretty boring for a while until they got a community college,
Yeah.
and then
So,
football scholarships and other sports, brought in, a more diverse crowd.
well, up
I
in New
don't.
Hampshire, it's more based on I couldn't get a job because I couldn't guilt trip them into giving me the job because I didn't have 3 kids on welfare.
Hmm.
No, seriously, like I rented a room from a guy who rented another room to another dude who only slept in the room when he and his girlfriend were fighting because as long as she looked like she was single and collecting benefits, he couldn't live with her, otherwise it would ruin her benefits.
Oh, I believe it. That's that
So if I
whole.
don't have 3 kids on welfare, I couldn't get a job. And I know that's how
Yeah.
some people got their good paying jobs. They guilt tripped them. Like,
Wow.
do I have to like fake children now?
Well, I mean, how they gonna check it? Yeah, I say go ahead and
Just
fake it.
like
It's like I
take
tell kids
pictures
these days.
of my sisters when they were babies and say, "Yeah, they grew."
Absolutely. That's
I mean, if the
actually a
house
great
hadn't
idea.
burned down, I probably could have.
Mm, you should have.
I moved to Texas. I mean, they're not going to call them.
I tell high school dropouts all the time. Just put that you passed high school on your applications or whatever. They're not calling high school.
No.
You know what I mean? Just say you passed, even if you didn't get out of the eighth grade.
A lot of them are
Just
smarter than the ones that are actually still in school, in my opinion. From all that
yeah,
substitute teaching I did, the ones that get out, they're about something. They usually already have a business already intact, even though it's usually selling weed. They got a
good
business
business.
intact.
It's good business.
They got cash flow. They need to reinvest. They are intelligent creatures that I was so proud to know,
Yeah.
even if it was like illegal.
Mm,
Or the rest of them are all joining the military because they think they have to go to college.
yeah, man. Well, they pushed that really hard. I mean, it's insane. And of course now with um, the debt forgiveness or whatever, like
The only people
uh,
getting forgiven are the ones who still have any. It's usually all the rich kids because a lot of the kids who there's a lot of scholarships out there
oh
for the
yeah, I got
lower
a
end.
scholarship every semester. I went to school. There's more than I ever realized. I couldn't believe it.
Well, Dad just said he'd pay for everything, and that's why I went because I didn't want to have like proof that I wasted my life or I said no to a free opportunity.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely
But
should have taken more serious.
in my last semester, I only had one class. Okay, I went to school originally for accounting, and I switched it to business admin just because I wanted to get the hell out of there. Right? I mean, it's just paperwork and stuff. But my last semester, 'cause they kept changing what I needed in order to graduate, I
Uh,
took script writing because I didn't wanna take the history of musicals.
Damn, I probably would have liked that.
I recycled everything I wrote from creative writing and just turned it into a script. My
Yeah,
grade was mostly based on participation and just showing up. I had a perfect A plus 4.0 average. But I've been starting to write like, I did start a Substack just as a place to keep writing and whatnot.
oh no way, that sounds interesting. What's that about?
You can just write whatever you want, and then people subscribe to you like a magazine.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
I know they're looking for more content creators, but they pay so little compared to, because like the last person I heard talking about it, like you've heard about the Joe Rogan deal on Spotify, right?
Oh, sure.
That's real money. That's like the real followers. And then one of his better friends, Tim Dillon, the comedian, because he does hire a writer for a lot of his humor. The same guy he has a podcast with makes more money on YouTube than he does for Substack. Because Substack came a court and tried to say, like, could you do this for free? And it's like, you're not paying me. I'm not doing it.
Hmm. What is Substack's platform based then? Is it per click, or is that kind of like YouTube, or what? You get paid per view?
I know you can do it article based, but you can do like a podcast on it to where if you write an article, you can also voice over it as well.
Oh, okay.
And I guess you can plug in video at this point, but I haven't expanded it yet.
Interesting. This is called Substack, or
Yeah.
wow.
You
Yeah,
can
I never
charge
heard.
a subscription service for it, but so many people are used to YouTube and free that
Yeah, you got to get probably pretty big before you could, I don't
well, I
know,
think
benefit
even
from
though
it.
I've only a few followers on YouTube, I think I have better coverage because of Google. YouTube is owned by Google owns YouTube. Nothing owns Substack.
Oh,
So
okay.
I figured that if I create enough articles in there and if I ever want a job as a writer, I could say, here's my portfolio.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a good place for me to complain in public.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a good use of your time, though. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, the articles aren't too long. It's just sharing of ideas. Like the only ones I left public were the ones I felt were more like a PSA. Like, here's how Lyft and Uber really work and how you can keep all these drivers employed and stop getting them all fired unless they truly are pieces of shit.
I don't think we even have Uber or Lyft where I live. I don't.
No,
I
you're
don't
too
believe
far from
we do.
civilization.
We've got like Jasper and Smith or so. I don't know. They show up on a horse buggy.
And what's the population?
Martin, right now school's in session, so about 10,000,
And when school's not in session?
about 4,500, somewhere like there. Yeah, it's very noticeable. But the university is, they're really good at like kind of staying where it's a decent sized campus. You hardly ever suffer from like rush hour or anything like that. If I see 6 cars on the road, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Sounds like Plymouth. My parents live outside of College Town.
Oh yeah, I used to go to Plymouth all the time.
I do like the view from the library, though, the college library, because you have those big windows that looks out into the valley.
Yeah,
And sometimes you can watch the clouds rise up off the river.
that sounds cool.
And it's good for photography and whatnot. Used to fall asleep a lot in their chairs. Hey, I
You're
was
just thinking
tired back
hard.
then. I was so tired back then. Ugh.
So are you selling these scarves or Afghans that you're making, or is this
No, this
just
is
for you?
for me.
Okay.
This one's for me, and I'm trying to, as they say, work on my stash, as
Hmm.
in yarn stash. I got a couple of things posted on Etsy, but I'm supposed to take pictures of more things because I was doing some samples for bikini tops. Because you got to figure out the right flare on things, make sure it curves right. So I was figuring some of those out, and I figured if I sell the prototypes, 'cause I can still make more whenever I want now that I know how to do it or how to measure it, which part really with some of the curve stuff, how long you start it will control the curve of it later on and
I got
truly
you.
getting the sculptural aspect of it.
That's that's way more art than I'm capable of. You know, every time I get a brawl, they're like, 56-inch A cup. They're very frustrated with me in there. But
Mm,
I mean, I need it. I need the support.
yeah, talking about real curves. But no,
Oh,
if
don't
you
dismiss
want, I
my
could.
wisdom.
I did make a banana hammock as a joke. It's a string thong.
Yeah.
It's basically it's just a stack in the front, and then the rest of it's all string, and then in the back where it connects like a thong, I had beads on it that say "bitch."
Okay.
It's very
Awesome.
silky. It's out of a cotton bamboo, which is very close to a softer polyester.
Wow. That sounds cool.
Fabric wise, it really is. It's a true summer type fabric. Yes, it's a nice light
Hmm.
mint green.
Oh my. Nice.
It was just some guys on Clapper, another source where you can make short videos up to 2 minutes and then have subscribers pay you for content.
I'll be darned. I never even heard of it.
And it's a number one competitor to TikTok, and they are headquartered in Dallas. That was an accident. I didn't know they were so close. And now they're
Hmm.
trying to use like location based video watching, and you can go live and talk to a lot of people that way. Or a lot of them just
Do
watch.
it live.
Well,
Sorry.
most of them say,
Every time
yeah.
I hear someone say go live or do live, I think about Bill O'Reilly. I can't help it.
But yeah, you can create followings on there, and I think there's a decent amount of people on. I don't think every account is bots, but I would say, when someone doesn't have any content and it's just a really scratchy picture,
Mm.
if you start adding them up, like one day I went through and I put check marks next to all the accounts. Like I wrote down a list of every single account that I had because supposedly 5,000 people follow me on Clapper, right?
Wow.
So for the first 200, I went through every single account to see which ones I thought were fake. I think only about 30 of them were real or could have been real
Golly.
or made content or didn't look like they stole the picture or had a good picture enough to or a bot doesn't know a bad picture when it's like
Mm.
fuzzy, clear, or
Yeah. Wow.
so
I'm
out of
guessing they
focus.
pay better than TikTok. I mean, hell, not working pays better than TikTok, I think.
But yeah, you can, like I said, you get the subscription service. You can follow people, send them monthly stuff, or no, I was gonna compare that to, Twitter. Twitter has an higher amount of fakes. I mean, they might have more stream, but they got a lot more fakes, and they're just
I
angry.
imagine. I would love to know how many fakes are over there. I
Well, it
don't really
hasn't
mess
come
with
out yet,
it
and that's
that
what
much.
Elon Musk wants to know, and that's what's holding up the sale of Twitter right now, is what are
Yeah.
they hiding?
I saw they tried to ram it through again. They were like, "Hey, we'll sell it for
Well,
44
there is a
billion."
clause that says if it doesn't go through, somebody owes somebody, like, millions and billions of dollars type of deal,
Hmm.
but it depends what the judge says of why can't you just give him what he asked for?
Yeah.
Because the bots
Then
are the
again,
whole thing.
I'm
It's about
definitely
knowing how
waiting.
fake it is. So, but yeah, if you want to have some fun, watch some fun little videos that farmers and everyone else makes, just go on Clapper.
I might have to check it out.
They do encourage good content creation.
I actually like the Substack idea quite a bit. I used to write a ton of short stories and stuff, and for a while I had a blog where I was literally writing like fake stories, not quite the Onion level, but trying to.
Hold it. I have this new setup here, and the plug doesn't like how far it is from the wall. But I have a new white background
Oh, right on. I didn't even think
versus,
about it.
well, at least this way, if something falls off, I can catch it easier. And right now, it looks like a bomb went off in here, but it's more functional for video now.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you want to start a book series, you could technically do that on Substack.
that's kind of neat. Yeah.
Personally, I'd rather just keep the writing because I do have my own stuff going on where if you can publish it on Amazon and then do your own voiceover and then put it
Yeah.
on Audible and then all the other streaming sites, they treat it like it's real estate of some kind.
Hmm.
And you can market it better because once you get one written And then you get like if you do a series, you give like the first one away free, but then charge for like
Oh,
the other 9.
sure. Okay.
So you'd have to, like I said, there's some giveaway involved, and how much do people really want to pay for it, and what kind of structure do you want, and
Imagine. Yeah, it's fun setting
yeah.
up an ACX account. I haven't gotten anywhere with it. I have a couple samples out there for people to hear me on, but I've looked at some projects, but like I don't know. I get chicken shit when it's time to pull the trigger. You know what I mean? I'll stand there and draw down all day long, but when it comes to actually doing something, I'm like, nah, screw it. Nobody wants to hear
No,
that
I
shit.
will definitely have the guts just as soon as I know how good my editing is. Because once you get good at editing, anything's possible.
Yeah.
When you can make shit look gold, that's when you do it.
Hmm. I should probably just do it. I worked with Audacity a lot last month, and I don't think I'm as good as Bill, but like I got better. I know I got better.
Well, sometimes you have to have what I call that fake radio voice. It's like, welcome to 98.3 and trying to keep your voice the most
Right?
level temperature, like most even level possible. And just once you get the rhythm, it becomes boring.
Yeah.
Or not overemphasizing your P's and B's because then it can make a little sound in your microphone. And just said, once you know where all the glitches are, you don't, it becomes a production thing. It's not about you anymore. Of did it do what it's supposed to do? Is it within the parameters? Is it a product that will be acceptable to the system?
Yeah, because their little benchmarks or whatever are kind of tight. Well, I mean they should be. You know, nobody wants to listen to a bunch of hissing and clicking and whatnot when they're listening to a book.
I
So
mean, there was was it Branson Pinchot, that actor who came back to Hollywood, didn't get any acting gigs, and he ended up getting the uh, Audible like recording artist of the year award or whatever for
no
both.
way. Was that the dude that was Balky Bartokomous, or is
Yeah,
that somebody else?
no,
Was it
it's
really?
Balky.
Holy crap! Awesome.
He's on Instagram. He
Wow.
doesn't post very often, but he's still the same quirky dude.
It's hard to believe he was from the country, Meatloaf, a strong goat herding community.
He wasn't. He was from California, dude.
No, he's from Meatloaf. Look it up.
Brandon Pinchot is a straight up California dude with a
Yeah, but
funny
Balky was from
personality.
Meatloaf.
Uh,
Yeah, I used to love watching that show. Perfect Strangers, I think, was the name of that
I
TV
liked
show.
the early years the best, and then they had it for a short time on Hulu, and I watched as much as I could before they said, this show will end in 2 more weeks. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
But the early years I love the best. The later years, it still confuses me why Jennifer ever married Larry. That confuses me to
That
no
was
end.
kind of weird, right? Yeah.
Wasn't because she was pretty or anything. It's like, he's a flagrant liar, so why are you still with him?
Some women can't help themselves. I guarantee you know someone in real life that's at least kind of like that.
At least the Mary Ann character made a little more sense with Balky
Oh,
because,
she was the best, man. I still remember some of her lines. Like she, they flew to France because they weren't they stewardesses or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, they come back and they give Larry a bottle of wine from California, and he's like, "Oh, this is from California." She's like, "Oh man, when I bought it, they told me it was imported, but like she bought it in France, so it was imported." I don't know. It's so silly. I don't know.
yeah.
I can't remember how young I was when I saw that show, but
Well, we
somehow
weren't
that
allowed to watch the later
for me.
years, so I thought I could finish all of it in time, so I just watched as much as I could of the later years before Hulu got rid of it, and I finally saw it when Balky went back to Me Posts.
Oh,
Finally.
nice.
I mean, it was not quite what I was expecting. It was a lot less, but hey, I saw it.
Right on.
But no, I still love the chemistry between the two guys, and the earlier years I think had a lot more slapstick comedy in it. And I think that's why I liked it better. They
Do
were
you think the
younger and
writers
had,
were different back then, or was it the same crew the
no,
whole
I think
time?
they were
Or?
just younger and had more physicality in them.
Hmm.
There was a point where I guess Brandon Pinchot told what's his name, Lynn Baker, Mark Lynn Baker, that yeah, you kind of have to go to the gym so you can be flexible enough to do some of our stunts.
Wow.
But they did do all their own stunts if you think about it, and there's less stunts as they get older.
It's kind of story of my life as well. Used to be
Well, because
very
they
stuck.
always do the dance of joy, but if you realize with the dance of joy, it always ends up with Larry being held by Balky, and you have to one man's holding the weight of another man,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
or all the pratfalls off the couch,
Oh yeah.
or all the jumping over counters, or I think one of them had a dream one time that required roller skating all around the office
Hmm.
and not totally falling flat on their face, or the time they had to bring a piano up 3 flights of stairs.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah, I was
very
thinking of doing a
physical. It
fake
was
piano too.
very it was almost like Three Stooges, but more physical. Because Three Stooges can be quite lazy at times.
Yeah, but they made it work, man. I guess maybe because they were the pioneers of that silliness.
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they rarely. I mean, they always had an interesting like
Well, Buster
background of
Keaton
their
was
props,
even
but
before them,
yeah, that's true.
and that was
He
with
was like
silent
before
film,
sound, right? Yeah. It was definitely a different time back then.
or
It seemed like he
Charlie
did more with
Chaplin
props
too.
already. Oh yeah.
I think that's also what's missing. Not enough violence in our comedy.
Hmm. Interesting.
That's why I'm debating whether or not I should tell about last year's Christmas. Because last year, like, I like to pick a theme for the holidays, but the theme was violence. Here's how I mean that. A couple of years previously, my parents thought that Bill and I would want a Rock'em Sock'em Robot set.
Because you did, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it was the top of the Christmas list. Yeah.
Awesome. Right on.
So I mean, I tried selling it on eBay, just kind of stuck around the house, and then finally I realized that Bill had a 13-year-old nephew and a 9-year-old nephew, and they were coming of age with lots of testosterone. So I figured this would be the safest way for them to literally beat the crap out of each other. There's your violence. And then it's only in Texas where pinatas are very, very, very popular. And
Yeah,
up
man, they're
north,
everywhere.
I don't know if any of my nieces or nephews even know what a pinata is.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I
And I
found,
guess
yeah, I
they all
found
live up.
the,
They live
say
up
what?
north. They all
Yeah,
live
they
up
live
north.
way up north. They're next to Plymouth. Yeah. So I sent up the plainest, is this huge cowboy boot full of stuff. And they did record it for me, and they did have the looks on their faces because, like, there's a lot of more boys this year. Like, my cousin has 4 boys, my sister has 2 boys, my other sister has a very like, my niece is, like, a foot taller than everyone else for her age.
Awesome. That
So
was
they're
story
all
of my
real
life.
big, capable people, and it's like then they go and give these little kids a baseball bat and say, "Go hit that," and they just looked at you like, "Is that a trick question?" Because all day they're being told, "Don't hit your brother, don't hit your brother, don't hit your brother,
Right.
don't hit this, don't do that, don't do this." So then it's like you're told to go hit something and they just like froze, like waiting for like the rest of the joke to come out. And it's like, no, Merry Christmas. Here's some violence. Go hit something.
What's your name to all those kids? Are you like Auntie Jess or like
I think
what's
I've
yours?
met them once, and most of them were babies. And because of COVID, I haven't seen them in like 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
My
okay.
sisters don't call. We don't video chat. There's only one sister
Wow.
who might, and
Bummer.
that's the
I
one
talk
who's
to my
pregnant
sister
right
almost
now.
every day.
Say what?
I said I talk to my sister almost every day.
My sisters aren't nice like that. They're kind of like
Yeah.
sociopaths.
Mm, I hate
Or as
that.
I
I think my brother's that like that.
or as I told my father, they're all like fire breathing dragons who don't know that they're fire breathing dragons. And every time they breathe fire, it doesn't hurt the other dragons because they're all dragons. They
Right.
have enough, coating and special platelets, and they can't hurt each other, but at the same time, they're still fire breathing morons. I mean, when I was younger, a
A lot of
friend of
love
mine.
at your house.
Say what?
I said a lot of love at your house.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I started doing Christmas the way I started doing Christmas is because, like, I moved to Texas, and one or two of them had the gall to say straight to my face that they kept forgetting to use the Starbucks gift cards because it gotten so bad where I would just give gift cards, and
Yeah,
Starbucks is where everyone can go. I mean, they're always telling me about how they're going to Tilton and going to get Starbucks, right? And then they say, "Oh, we forgot to use it." I'm like, "What women forget to use free money in America?"
for real. Why-
I mean,
Me
it was
too.
just like gobsmacked of they would steal your money faster than you could say "achoo," but they couldn't remember to use the stuff you gave to them freely. It's one of those, "What?" So,
That's interesting.
that's when I decided to use reverse psychology for Christmas. Cause like, their favorite things to do in all this world is I mean, yes, they like gifts, but their favorite things more than gifts is to lie, steal, cheat, barter, and con you out of your stuff.
Hmm.
They
Wow.
love arguing over it, they love fighting over it, so the first year I came to Texas and I had a new employee discount at Goodwill. Yeah, I had 15% off discount for Goodwill. I went through the
Golly.
T-shirt section, the $1.99 T-shirt section, and found all, like, the rejects from, like, Spencer's and all the really funny ones.
Right on. Awesome.
Like, like, beauty school dropout. 2 of them went to beauty school. They never dropped out, and they actually got certified. But it still was funny, it was insulting. Um,
Right.
stuff from my dad, like, "The big dog on campus," or, "Wake me up on Saturday,"
I
or
shaved my balls for this. That's a good shirt.
yeah, or just something like that. It was all female themed at the time because it was just them. And basically, I didn't put names on anything because they had to fight for it. Because the only gifts that a person truly values is the ones that they have to fight for. You
Interesting.
know, if they
Hmm.
don't fight for it, they don't value it. And this is how you can like force them to value the crap you put in a box and mail to them. They didn't
Right.
forget to use a single T-shirt. I didn't hear like I made them to video record it because it's like WWF all female Christmas edition.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely wild, but brilliant at the same time.
I got tired of them saying stupid shit. So every year my goal is for the stuff in the box to cost less than the shipping. Make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's brilliant.
So it's all just not eBay. Oh, I mean there were some eBay things, but it's just all cheap used stuff and I don't put names on anything. And there's only been a few times where my niece may not have gotten her own stuff because her aunties kind of took it. Like the year I found they were really, really cute gold freckle tattoo.
Yeah.
It's a fun little girl thing to do. But the beautician who went to school to do makeup, I knew I had to put two in there. If not, the kid wouldn't get one.
Wow. Yeah, that's weird.
That explains their life. It's like the mafia, but not the mafia.
Hmm.
Or there was another year. Luckily the older children did not care as much for Frozen because when Frozen first came out, my niece was that perfect age. She was like 6, 7 years old. She was a Elsa freak, and
That's
I
pretty
felt
badass.
yeah, it was a good time of year for gifting. It was really easy. Like she was even amazed by there was a stick of candy, the tubes and had the little toppers on them.
Yeah.
I found one at the food store that had a fan and it worked like a projector for the movie.
Neat.
I mean, it was the best $3 I ever spent. But that year, it was when she was younger. It was but way, way before the second one ever came out. I was walking through a craft store. I thought I was done with the box for the year. I was about to ship it. And I find this little light purple, like stretchy cap, the ones you get like at the dollar store. But it had 3-foot blonde braids on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and since her mom was the hairdresser, I knew that she would take care of it, and so it's in the box. My youngest sister, she has nominated herself master of ceremonies all these years. So she sees it, she knows, like, because there's no names on anything. It's all based on what their interests are because it's my inside joke to myself.
Right.
Because it's like, keep dancing, monkey, keep dancing. I'm still smarter than you. And only my mother and my cousin have ever noticed why I don't need to put names on anything. If I want to start World War III, put something with SpongeBob on it in there. Two of them will fight for it.
I'll be darned.
So dance for me, monkey, dance. So
Wow.
that's my free movie that I make for myself every year. So Kristen pulls out this, like I said, the hat with the braids. She starts walking around the room saying, "Oh, don't I look good? Don't I look great with these braids on?" Right? And then, of course, another sister says she puts it on her. No, I look the best with these braids. Blah 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 blah. They get to like 4 or 5 sisters in. So I have five plus my mother, who are all trying on this hat, saying how great they look with these braids, right? And by the end of it, Acacia is only crying. She's like, "I'm the only one who likes Elsa."
Hmm.
Just tell she's like, "I'm the only one," because she was so young at the time. But yeah, she knows how to lie, steal, cheat her way to what she wants,
Hmm.
including Elsa's braids.
Wow.
Or one of the last ones where they did a close up. It was before the official handing out or auctioning almost per se of the gifts. And they all know that you just walk past the box, your arms are down, you just keep walking, and all of a sudden you just grab something, you put it underneath your hip, and you just keep walking like you don't know nothing. And that's how she did get the one gift that it was hot pink. It had the word princess on it. It was full of like 3 pounds of candy.
Awesome. That's good,
Yeah.
Aunt.
It's like, yeah, she knows how to get stuff behind dad's back because there's for some reason dad was the one handing stuff out that year. But it's just fun to screw with them that way. Or like one year, now normally I prefer new without tag T-shirts. I like the newer ones. I don't want to go for the older ones, right? Unless
Sure.
they're like perfect, they have to be like dead on. I found one that said old school, like or like doing it old school. It was dad's perfect size. And dad, when I was a teenager, would dance around the kitchen trying to get us like, yeah, I'm old school, man. I'm also doing it great, just kind of like trying to get us to laugh or just being a nudge, basically. And so I knew that that shirt would make him drive all them nuts for Christmas. And that's what the gift was to me.
Right on.
Of course. And then 1 year later, exactly. Now, normally I don't send kids stuff really, or at least not clothing, because clothing they change too much. It's not really worth it. But I was walking past the kids section for that next year's box, and I found a shirt that exactly fit my niece, or was one size too big because she wore it as a nightshirt or whatever in the kids section. It said "Doing It Old School Baby" on it, the same amount of age, the same spot on the shirt, same everything, just the color was a little bit different. So they put it in there. So 2 years in a row, I got to drive them 8 ship crazy with "Doing It Old School Baby."
Golly.
And there's a picture somewhere out there of my dad holding my niece, and they're both wearing their shirts. So dance for me, monkey, dance for me. I'm supposed to be the dumb sister too.
What makes you think that?
They say so.
Yeah, but I mean, the oldest is never the dumbest.
Oh, really?
Not any. I can't think of one example of a family where the oldest was, you know, stupid or not the most responsible. You know what I mean? It's always the oldest is always the most mature. Or well, maybe not in your case because you take a lot of joy in driving them crazy. But you know what
I
I mean?
have to. You can either cry over it or you can fuck with it. I choose
Uh,
to fuck with it
well,
because I
right
got
on.
tired of stupid shit. And every year, like it's turning gift giving on its head because you can either give them crap that'll just collect dust in the corner for years to come, which most gifts are, or you can give them something that will create entertainment for yourself for the first 15 minutes. That's all. My limit is 15 minutes. If they usually lose interest after 15 minutes, and then it's no longer part of the game. But like one
Sure.
year at one of those like Japanese dollar stores, they're called Daiso. I found some of those like candy stick things, but on the topper it was a T-Rex, and if you push the button, it would like make a biting motion.
Awesome.
My mother grabbed those out and was chasing her grandchildren around because the dinosaur was going to bite them in the butt. That was really funny to watch. The 60-year-old was enjoying the children's toys.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, or like after Bill got his sacred iPad, which is another long story for another day, he kind of wanted to thank my parents a little bit. But the first time he ever sat in dad's office, there's an extra computer at the end. He's probably like checking bank statements or Facebook or something benign. And he was sitting in dad's office and he was listening to dad answer very professional phone calls from people he's worked with for years in the same way he has almost always answered the phone, which is, yes, this is the man, the myth, the legend calling for Eugene O'Connor about the Cranberry Thornton building. Or the other version would be, yes, this is the king of the final frontier calling for Boris Yeltsin in regards to the structural damage on something in New York.
Hmm.
He was literally calling himself the man, the myth, the legend, and king of the final frontier with a straight face, and no one said anything. And in other rumors in the past, these architects would have secretaries who didn't know his real name.
Weird.
Like they didn't know his real name was like John Smith. It's like, are you the man, the myth, the legend? Like they did no reference as a real person. So Bill
Weird.
thought that he used to believe that I exaggerated my family. He now knows I don't need to do that.
Yeah,
There
he
you
was probably
go.
hoping you were.
Yeah. So because of this, on that same trip out there, my mother accidentally took a really, really good profile picture of my dad. And so he gave it to a graphic artist who made just a black profile outline of it. And then they put it onto like one of those old fashioned wanted posters and said like the man, myth, the legend, King of the Final Frontier on it and that type of logo kind of thing. You know, wanted $5 million, whatever, on it. And they made like it was like a poster, a really big, fits the door poster. And then he's like, I don't feel like that it's enough. Like there should be more. And then the first thing out of my mouth was, Bubba needs a coffee mug. Bubba is my dad's nickname since before I was born. And now that he's a grandpa, he's Bubba all over again. Back when we were part of this church, since my dad is a caffeine addict and always has been, someone put the rumor out there that Bubba collects coffee mugs. Bubba has never collected a thing in his life. Never once.
Sounds like he collected daughters.
Either or. But yeah, because of this rumor, we had the best coffee mug collection growing up.
Hmm.
And so Bill's like, but there's only one mug. I mean, it doesn't really seem. No, 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 no. You have to buy four because four you get a better deal on all of them. And here's why you need four. You need one for my father to always drink out of. You need one for the family to share because they're not going to share one mug. It's not going to happen. You need a backup in case one breaks. And then you need one for them to steal. I will explain later how that applies, what stealing could mean. So they get it, they open it. The first thing my mother says is, oh, good, there's more than one. We don't have to share because they don't share anyway. And then a year goes by, we visit them again. One had since broken. One was always in my father's hand. There was one that was always being used and reused nonstop because it was always the last cup that went up in the mug cabinet and the first one in last one in is the first one out. They always used. And two sisters at the time were still living at home because they were in between apartments and whatnot. They, in case any one of them wanted to steal, take, move with them one of these mugs, in the upstairs bathroom where my parents never went, their toothbrush holder was this extra mug. Out of sight, out of mind. Just put in your stuff and then leave. That's how they steal. It's not outright theft. It's that slow matriculation, maniacal sleight of hand almost.
Odd. This sounds really odd to me.
But that's how they'd. Obviously, my father's name is on it, but they'd still steal it.
Hmm.
And so Bill knows to keep that print on file in case we need any more mugs produced, because it's the holy mug.
Hmm.
Or in other years, we make sure that his name was like Charlie is like the greatest guy in the world type of thing, and then full of Werther's original. That's the only way we know that he got anything.
Oh, I mean, hmm.
His name has to be on it because when it's cool shit like that, it disappears. Or like in other years, I had found in the 1980s they did a reprint of the Saturday Evening Post art, but they did it in really big books with like 4-inch solid white borders on this really special thick paper, right? I mean, they were really good. They were meant so you could rip them out, put them in a frame, and then put them directly into a frame. That's what it was meant for, right?
Sure.
I found the first one at Goodwill, and then I found the second edition online for fairly cheap. I put those in the box. They were really thin, long. My mom did like them. I thought she was definitely going to keep them. But somehow they went missing after Christmas, just disappeared. 2 years later, someone had a new baby. A husband was holding that baby. And on the wall behind the husband's head in their home was that exact 4-inch border with Saturday Evening Post art.
Hmm. What a coincidence.
Like I said, their favorite gift that I can give them is lying, stealing, cheating, bartering, a sleight of hand.
Yeah.
It's not about the crap.
Well, I don't envy you on that. I didn't realize I should be even more grateful that I don't have to worry about that. We don't do that. There's not that many of us either, though.
Well, I mean, the gift giving has slightly changed throughout the years because there's now more children that need like actual gifts. But at the
Right.
same time, like last year, there's a shirt that I found that I wasn't sure if it was. I mean, they're not political in any real way, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if it would rub anyone necessarily the wrong way. But usually they're quite literal. So, but basically, it was just a T-shirt that was it was a print shirt. It had like a man's beard from like the nose down, like those full like mountain tape beards that it showed, and then the words on it said something like "Who has the best beards? Not women." It was very pro heterosexual. And it looked funny. It's like, why do you have to say that? But at the same time, it's like I kind of understand why you think you have to say it. And it was on a T-shirt. Like, okay, it was new ink, wasn't dried out. I'm like, well, considering it's New Hampshire in winter and there's like 5 or 6 men who probably all have beards, the odds are high in my favor that they'll like the T-shirt. So I bought it for like $3 or whatever. Put it in the box. It was the first year my cousin's husband showed up to Christmas. After they were married, she was gonna have the baby, whatever. And her husband came with the beard that was exactly on that T-shirt.
Oh, cool.
So they're like, "We have a feeling this belongs to you. We just have a feeling." And then even 2 days later after Christmas, she posted on Facebook and one of the little reel things, she's like, "This still makes me laugh." It's like, mission accomplished.
Right on.
Or in other years, I'm thinking about having a stamp made up so I can make my own. But it was just like a paper bag, but on it said bullshit bag and had like this poem and directions of how to use it, and that you should give it to anyone you think has a problem and needs to get rid of bullshit from their life.
Hmm.
For 75 cents a piece, I got 10 of those suckers. Two of my sisters gave them to their bosses, and mysteriously, they weren't fired. Do you know anyone who's missing out on their bullshit bag?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's that type of irony. But like I said, this last year it was a pinata, and mom said it was a good form of like exercise and entertainment for the kids.
Oh, sure.
I mean, when I first started this, my youngest sister was only like 12 years old. That type of snarky humor, make fun of people, or the time I found like a t-shirt that said hick magnet on it. My sisters knew this kid. There was a tall, skinny, redheaded boy covered in zits who was the bus boy at the restaurant where two of them worked. And he was going around telling people that he was a chick magnet.
He probably was. You said tall and redheaded. Them dudes are just drowning in poon.
Not in New Hampshire, they're not. So they gave the shirt
No,
to
they're
him.
usually not.
No, they gave the shirt to him, which I totally agreed with. You know, it fit this narrative. It fit, it was a great story. Or just people don't think about gift giving enough to where weird stuff really does work if you know the person. Like one year I found a scarf, but it was like hand sewn. It had that fake fur on it. And at each end of the scarf, there was like this huge fake Sylvester the cat paw pocket.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
I can't remember who walked out with that one, but they fought over that one. That was the same year I found the farting finger pen.
I don't think I've seen that before.
I didn't expect to find it. It came from there's a place over here called Sam Moon, and it's like all the highest quality China produced tchotchkes of like jewelry, bags, hats, and accessories. And at the register, they had like if you pull the finger, it'll fart, but it still works like a pen. I'm pretty sure one of the boyfriends at the time got that pen, and he was overjoyed with it. Wanna pull my finger?
Probably still has it.
Yeah, well, they broke up within 6 months, but yeah,
I'm keeping this pen, bitch. No.
yeah. So it's based on a volunteer system, but yeah. Or like I started putting like they have it on camera. It was so funny when my cousin's 3 year old and my sister's 3 year old were fighting over a train. It was hysterical because they both don't really talk that much because they're boys, but they think that going is like the best way to get their point across before they
That's
try to
so
smack the other person. It was so funny to watch.
cool.
That was the same year. You remember when those monster like slippers were really popular? Like the super fuzzy ones for kids that look like abominable snowman feet.
I got a pair of those when I was like 12 years old.
Well, they made a resurgence about 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought they were big enough to fit my niece. That's the size I picked. Her 4 year old cousin got them instead.
Dang.
He looked kind of like they look like clown shoes,
Yeah.
but at least he'll be able to grow into them because his feet were like 3 sizes too small.
Mm.
But yeah, like I said, not putting names on anything does magic. Or like the one that comes after me, if I put Swedish fish in the box, the rest of the family will step aside because they know that it's hers because that's her absolute favorite. But if I put sixlets in there, 2 or 3 of them are gonna. I don't know how far they'll go because now that they're getting older and more mature, I don't know if they'll necessarily confront each other or just wait for them to forget about it and then take it when they're not looking. Because if it's out of sight and out of mind, that means you can sideswipe it. And it's just stupid candy, but it's nostalgic. It's super, super nostalgic.
Wow.
Yeah. Or like when the youngest sister was 18 years old, I had put a small bag of, when I say cheap, it was like the nicer crystal earrings from like eBay that they make in India. They weren't super expensive, but there was 4 or 5 pairs, and jewelry is one of those things where they usually leave it out for everyone to pick what they want off the pile. It was only this big, the whole bag for all the jewelry, right? Because 'Cause they're just earrings. I see her eyelids flutter real quick, and then she goes and sticks it underneath the edge of the couch so she can come back for it later. No one saw her do it but me. And this is why I demand video footage. It's the best movie I make every year.
Well, if it brings you joy, I would say keep doing it.
I know these people. Or it's always fun to see, like, if you just pick something like really risque or something, it's like, okay, who's gonna go for the risque item? Because it's not all choo choo trains and candy.
Hmm.
Or just like one year at that same Daiso store, there's a lot of natural springs for water up in New Hampshire where you can just pull off the side of the road and there's like a spigot that the town
Oh
has.
yeah, they're all over Maine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found one of those collapsible water containers that had the outside spigot on it. And my cousin with the 4 boys was like, "Mine, mine." Silly, stupid, but entirely necessary. And I kind of knew that she would be the one to grab it. She's the only one that has that many kids who can get thirsty all year long.
You're a mess.
Hey, I'm used to crazy, crazy.
I guess so.
Well, you gotta figure out the flow sooner or later. As long as I'm still the queen, that's all that matters. I mean, seriously, down here in pinatas are a birthday thing, and up there, we now have a new tradition for Christmas.
Cool.
And when because it was a really long boot, because I mean, I put like really nostalgic candy in it. Like, I had to look long and hard for some of these things, because like my dad's likes to call himself a sugar daddy because of all the girls. I found the lollipop, the sugar daddy,
Right.
threw that in there. I put the Werther's original, which he loves, in there. I put jerky. Gas station food is really popular with kids because they're never allowed to eat it. But if you get a Slim Jim on Christmas,
You done did something. Yeah.
see what I mean? It's that reverse psychology thing that totally works. It's my favorite game because I always win. But then in the middle of it, part of it was also like candies from like when I was a kid that you get from like those 25-cent machines at the food store. I found ring pops. I put all them in there. But in the middle of this thing, I found the biggest bouncy balls that I could. You know, the super bouncy ones? I got the biggest ones because I didn't want the babies choking on them and then someone die, you know? So, but they were in the middle so that when they hit the pinata and they only have hardwood floors, it would
Mm.
bounce and go like everywhere, like a complete spillage with bouncing. It'd be like the best volcanic eruption ever. It was.
I bet.
I think I might have thrown in like 4 packages of granola to prove to my mother there was something healthy in it. She's the only one that would eat those. Um, I don't think I did Swedish fish this year. I probably did Andy's mints because I always Andy's mints were those ones. They're softer mint chocolate, but my mother, when we were really, really young, she'd put them out in a bowl for when guests would come over, and we would eat
Yeah.
all of them before the guests ever got there. And then
Man,
she'd
that's good.
yeah, and then she'd be vacuuming behind the couch like the next August, and she'd see like 500 wrappers of these candies. She's like, "Who did this?" And since it was 6 months after, like, we don't know.
Yeah, why
Honestly,
not?
didn't remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always throw those in because that makes everyone very sentimental. Or the year before, I had gone to a vintage estate sale for many, many years because Kristen was really, really into horses and still is. She still has her horse. Down here, we have this advertising thing where you can have your business's name put on a glass cowboy boot mug. They're about yay tall. They're
Yeah.
curved. They're hard to clean because the hole does go into the toe and stuff. But every single year, I sent her one that didn't have an advertisement on it. I get a plain, simple one. I usually fill it full of candy, stick some saran wrap on it with a rubber band, and she always elbowed her way to get that one because they knew horse girl, cowboy boot. That's just the way it was. And then that last year, I found an old lady just had this whole collection. There was like 6 or 7 of them, and I was already like, "There's already 20 pounds of candy, and it's like $6 a pound. I'm not gonna do more candy." So instead, I got 2 different boxes of, hot chocolate mix
Oh, perfect.
and just put those in there because I wasn't sure if there's a lot of mixed families because you don't know if they're with the mother or if they're gonna be with the father. Like, I was so glad almost that my cousin's family got snowed in because that one meant 2 of her boys would not be with their mother for Christmas. It's a very mixed family, but instead they were able to participate in the piñata instead of it being like the real little kids. There was a good age range of kids that year, and like another sister, there could have been 2 extra girls there. So I pad it with cutesy stuff like that. Or I still think it's really funny that the current boyfriend of someone looks like the hedgehog of the mug that he got. Well, he does. And just all that subliminal, subconscious. Yeah. And then which means I gotta start another box this year. I'm trying to figure out what theme I want to go with.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Well, they still haven't told me because even though there was video coverage, I'm still not sure who got the drone. It was one of those fun indoor little kid kinds to where they can't get their fingers stuck in it, so they don't get their fingers cut off, but
Right.
it would, like, change different colors, and if your hand went near it, it would fly away from you, so you could, like, control it and stuff and, like, run around the house and
Oh, neat.
interact with it versus the kind that, they're like $300 and you need a cell phone and you have to be careful of a harsh breeze. But I think I might do that more for the Tennessee kids because one of them's joining ROTC Air Force.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
anything that
So,
helps his understanding of space, time, flight, and gravity, I'm for it. And they do use drones a lot in the Air Force,
oh, I'm
like the
sure.
military in general. So anything that hurries up that learning, I'm for it.
Cool. I just use one to look at my roof and make sure my shingles are okay.
Actually, supposedly it's also used a lot for people that have like meditation channels and they want to see other places. They'll put music behind it and just like watch the trees and the landscape and stuff, and they find it very calming. And then you get like advertising revenue. Like
Like,
there's one video that I make a joke. I kind of watch it every year, but I don't. But it's just a video of like a fireplace. And it's like over 5 million views. I think they have like this nonstop stream of all instrumental Christmas music. They never take it down. It always runs. It's like a 6-hour thing of nonstop fire with music. So if you want to start that kind of channel, I know people do that kind of stuff.
yeah, that sounds terribly boring. I don't think
No,
I
they
could
find
even sit through it.
well, if
I'm,
you don't have a fireplace or whatever, you can just play it on your computer.
yeah, I have actually an app on my TV that does the fireplace perfectly. And like, I'm very weird with music. Like, I don't like other people work for me. I don't know. I'm odd. I'm an odd duck. I guess I spend a lot of time alone. I don't know.
Mm.
Like I don't like kids. I don't like dealing with kids. My poor wife, she is sweet with all her nieces and
Well, I
nephews.
don't mind kids. I just mind the parents that think that their kids should be treated a certain way, and it's like, no, they're dipshit, and it's your fault, and I'm fixing it for you.
Oh well, you're better than me because I would just remove myself from the situation entirely and go hang out by myself.
Well, I was probably just the only person that when I officially moved away, my mother had to call me how to deal with my youngest sister. She knew I had sway over her, and she's still a "f you, I own the world" kind of person.
That's too bad.
It is what it is, as long as we know how to deal with them or know to watch out for. But yeah, that's another reason why I don't make them anything. Is either one, they already know how to make it themselves, or they'd rather just buy it. They don't value anything, so go spend your own money. Here's a T-shirt from Goodwill. Hope it makes you laugh. Or like one of the second to last times we were up in there, um, my youngest sister was wearing a T-shirt that she got like 8 years ago, and it was faded then. Because the only reason that it pushed it over the edge for me to put it in the box is because it was just a face of Chewbacca, and it was like faded rainbow stripes, so it was like super hippie Chewbacca.
Interesting.
Yeah, 'cause it was older than I wanted it to be, but I don't know how the print hasn't worn off, but she was still wearing it the last time we went up there. So that is the power of a T-shirt, especially when it has the right thing on it. There we go. Bill's always trying to find funny T-shirts. Now he's really getting into it.
Surprised y'all don't have a cricket.
A cricket what?
Just a cricket. The,
You mean that cutout thing?
yeah,
Yeah, they're $200. It's
it's not very much.
I've looked at people and how they use them, so unless I start a big enough channel where I can start manufacturing my own T-shirts, the only
I
thing
actually have a press for it and everything.
yeah, it's just more money, and I have no experience with that whatsoever. However, I do have one company that's making me an iron-on template for Big in the USA. I was thinking about ironing it onto some T-shirts, and then I've told you about my Tata shirt.
Oh yeah.
I hand sewed some. I know I got some more. I have another one. I haven't actually sewed them on yet. They were right here, but yeah, the if I did Big in the USA and then have the two big covers, if I manufactured some of those by hand, that maybe I could do some artisan quality T-shirts.
I bet you could.
I mean, I don't mind ironing on the cutout. Cutouts aren't that expensive, and if I can keep getting on super discount sale T-shirts from like Joann's or something, that's reasonable. Because I don't want to charge $35 for a T-shirt just because there has to be some profit in it for me. You
Yeah.
know, that's not worth it. Or the other one I'm still stopping myself from doing, but I don't know how long that will last. Like going and finding like a local shirt that still has the imprint from some like high school on it, still adding the tatas to it, and then
Oh geez. That'd be cool.
leaving it. It's like Keller ISD High School, and then
I
have
like
like
that. Yeah.
tassels
Or
hanging
like
off the
the church
front.
softball team T-shirt. Add that to it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and just make fun of it completely. I mean, that's all the shirts that mostly get donated to Goodwill most of the time, or at least lately, are like businesses, softball teams, and schools. So if
Yeah.
you go and recycle them and make them, hoochie coochie mama shirts, that would be cost effective.
Probably, yeah.
Or heck, if it gets cheap enough, do iron on pasties, literally.
Hmm.
Because if you leave it empty in the middle, you can still sew on a tassel without it ruining the integrity of the iron on.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's something you have to consider for it not to age appropriately and for it not to peel up or fade too quickly. So yeah, I do sometimes think about that, but there's so many people already doing that in DFW that are struggling trying to have businesses, and all they sell is t-shirts. They have no other content whatsoever.
Weird.
And there is what was it down here we have something called Printful, I think it's called. They specialize in Spotify stores and getting people their printed stuff from their websites, and I was hoping that they could find a different website because I don't like Spotify. No, not
No.
Spotify. No, what was it? It's not Spotify. It's that other one. They basically run the websites where you can print stuff, and the fulfillers of it are connected to them.
Hmm. I don't know who they are. I don't think.
Oh, what was that one? Well, they kicked off some conservative people from their platform, and basically, it's a web hosting service that has a lot of, I don't know, you would call them like plug-in apps. So,
No.
so if
Huh.
like you're a comedian or something or an author, you can sell things off the page, and then it can connect with the people who actually make the product. Like YouTube does have a manufacturer for t-shirts. It's called Print Tee or Print Tree. That's where I got the big in the US t-shirt that Bill likes to wear all the time. And I was testing out their quality, but after 2 months of washing it, it fades to the point where you can't see it anymore.
Huh, bummer.
So that's why I was thinking about looking around and either redoing how it's printed or painted on, or I don't know, just I gotta figure out a better version for production because I don't like their production. But then you have to have like over 1,000 followers before they'll let you officially connect it to your channel.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you got to make it worth the manufacturer's while, you know.
Yeah. But at the
Just
same
because you have
time,
1,000 followers, you're not gonna sell 1,000 shirts, probably. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, it's just another way for YouTube to get a cut of everything. And I don't like their prices either. So if I just start redoing t-shirts myself and then, I don't know, auctioning them off or whatever and making it more like a fun event type thing, that makes more sense. And if I'm going to have anything mass produced, I did have, you saw earlier that big crafter logo with the circle with the hand and the heart. That's actually a very high quality sticker, like bumper sticker. And I'd rather like just sell those or whatever. And then if I
I
do
wanted
t
a bumper sticker maker so bad when I drove a semi. I did. I really did. I just wanted to make them all the time and put them on the back of
can't
trailers,
you
and
do that with
people that
Cricut?
couldn't park. And probably. But I mean, I live at home and I work at home, and I mean, hell, going to the grocery store is like a big deal to me now. It's like, damn, I'm going out this week, man. Better shave up. Like
I see you.
I just hardly, you know, it's it's difficult making up a reason to leave the house. And of course, I mean, we got a pretty nice place, and I've got some fun toys, so it's not like I'm bored here. But yeah, I don't know. You know, I went from roaming all over the country to just being in one spot.
Yeah, when we were home, like you know how there was a pandemic and whatnot, and then John Chris did the video about how we homeschooled growing up. We've been preparing for the pandemic all our lives. It was like nothing. There's no Our lives didn't change. We don't know what you're talking about, and that's how it kind of feels like for Bill and I. Bill worked through the entire pandemic. Nothing changed there. I took 2 months off, but my eBay business increased selling a lot of games and stuff to
Oh, cool.
people. And then, I mean, I just voluntarily took 2 months off. And then when I went back, it was just nonstop work ever since. So, what
I was gonna
pandemic?
say it was 3 weeks here where people were freaking out wearing masks, and the Mexican restaurant shut down, and then after that, we've been business as usual ever since. So,
Yeah. I mean, even with like the farm up north, there'd be times where I'd only leave the property once a month.
hey, if you don't have to, you know,
I
why?
didn't want to go food shopping, and I had hay to move or fences to move, and I had a full working life. People think I'm kidding when I said, yes, I was a fully functioning adult based on today's standards of what makes an adult by the time I was 11.
That's how farming is, though. I mean, you
Mm.
know,
Or big families are like that because when I was 11, we were still in Jersey, and all we had was like a quarter-acre garden and like 10 rabbits, and then all the laundry. Never ending laundry.
oh, I bet it's just two of us here, and I feel that way. So I can't imagine.
No, we were talking with a family. We only had 5 girls at the time. And every year, my mother said we weren't allowed to use the dryer during the summer. Now, normally, when the wind blows hard enough, yeah, the clothes get soft, they're fine. But if the wind stops blowing, we started making the joke of, Mom, I can do origami with my underwear and the towels feel like a loofah.
Mm.
That was biblically true. We could.
Nobody does that anymore. Nobody puts clothes out anymore. Like I can't tell you last time I saw clothes out online. It's been a while.
According to my town, we're not allowed to have some type of drying rack in the back.
I do it anyway. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Put a
But
lien
no,
on
I
your house?
still like
I'm not
my
gonna.
washer and dryer. I like my washer and dryer. I like not needing to go outside when it's 112.
Yeah, it was hot here today. So
Well, this week we're having another heat wave. It's supposed to be cooling off, but it's still at least 100.
yeah, it was 100 here. So yeah,
See, what time is it?
about
Hmm.
9 o'clock.
If I wrap this up, I need to get to the store before it closes because there's only one place by us that has Texas created milk. So I like to support them as much as I can.
Oh,
I
cool.
know it's actually fresh. Like they have a glass bottle system and everything. Like if you hand in the glass bottles, you get $2 credit on your order.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So they're very locally based. Or like
Oh,
I noticed that our red potatoes that we've been getting from Walmart, they've crossed over to only Texas produced. For a
they
while there, they were
should. They should. Hell, they're not that far away. I mean, I used to haul potatoes out of Texas all the
let's
time.
see, was it 4 or 5 years ago? It was all the russet potatoes turned all Texas at my local Walmart, and now they're adding red potatoes. And that's
Oh, good.
about it that they're making local, or at least within the same state.
Right.
So, like I said, like the steak we got in the fridge came from the butcher, and that was all local producers. Sometimes he's cheaper than Walmart.
That's cool. I don't remember last time I bought a steak from Walmart. It's definitely been years.
Well, sometimes if they have 3-pack sales, I will do it. And it's the fastest way to get ground beef because I know that people think that less fatty beef is like better, but sometimes you just need it to like help cook it.
Yeah, fat's flavor. I mean, I was a chef for years. I'd always take 80/20 over
Yeah, it's the
90.
best. It's the best place to get 80/20 versus they may try to make it taste like the elk or the buffalo, but it's like no, you need something to like hold it together a little bit.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's why I still bother with that at all. Or it's a good place for like toilet paper and toothpaste.
Hmm.
And if all I have to do is order it on an app, show up and pick it up,
Yeah, I do like that part of them.
I'm just
I've
as
even
much.
got it down. I use laundry baskets in the back of the pickup and just have them load the bags into that. So then when I get home, I just
I have a nice
cards
back
on.
section to Kia, so I don't have to go that far.
You have a Kia?
Kia Soul, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
The animal will not die, it seems. Knock on wood.
I don't think any of my vehicles were. I don't even think Kia was around when any of my cars were made. That's how old all my.
No, they weren't. But if you need one that's good for putting miles on, I'm over 315,000 miles right now.
Oh, well, good. I've got a Honda Pilot that just hit 255 on, and it's running strong as could be.
Yeah, right now
So
I'm just saving up to. They said at any time the belt could snap. So just making sure I don't burn out the motor.
yeah, if you got that far, it's probably the timing belt. I'm gonna guess. That's
Yeah.
usually on those. Yeah, but yeah, you done good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
So we're going to fix that so I don't need a new motor. But yes, I will say good night to you. Gotta go get some milk. Make more cheese sauce.
Sounds good. And like
Have
a
you
nice
ever, did I
Ivy of
tell you about the
cheese.
keto cheese sauce?
The keto cheese sauce?
Yes, it's like drinking cheddar.
No, but we'll definitely have to have some
2
dialogue on
cups of milk, 1 package of cream cheese. Put as much cheddar as you can physically shove into the sauce to thicken it up. The only key is don't scald the dairy. Just
that. Right.
hot enough to melt it, but don't scald it. Just stir it with a whisk to get rid of all the clumps and stuff. And the longer it sits, the smoother it gets.
Mm,
It is divine.
yeah.
And then the only spice Bill seems to want me to have put in it is that one of those cheap packets of taco flavoring.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Oh, that's good.
plain cheddar works just fine. It is put that
Yeah.
shit on everything.
Right on. Well, awesome. Well, be safe on your journeys and give Bill a big old hug for me next time.
Will do.
Awesome.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, bye.